It's very sketchy.
That's gonna break Lucas. For real.
Lucas Harza decides to tempt fate and impress his friends by crossing a half-frozen pond in Little Rock, Arkansas. The situation does not look good from the very start. Here you can see and hear a long crack form across the thin ice, and he's not even a foot out yet. Eventually, he soft shoes his way to a thicker patch of ice and thinks he's safe. But keep in mind the water is freezing. Once you're under, you only have a minute or two to get out before your muscles seize and you sink to the bottom. Lucas gets smaller and smaller as he moves away from the camera and closer to dry land. He must choose each step wisely and visually estimate where the ice is the thickest before putting any weight on it. He's doing a pretty good job for a while until 4 minutes and 35 seconds later. You can hear the panic in his friend's voice as they watch Lucas struggle and thrash below. They are too far away and there's nothing they could have possibly done to save him in time. Lucas was already at the shallow end and looks to be in neck-deep water. This is still far from safe though, and he appears to be exhausted by the time he pulls himself free. I have little doubt that Lucas would have been a goner if this had happened just a minute earlier when he was even farther out. According to this video's uploader, this insanely creepy clip was taken on a mobile camera. I was taking video clips of a place and checking my mobile camera clarity. The author wrote, "I didn't recognize ghost presence on the spot, but while going through all my mobile clips, I spotted this presence while shooting some shots of this area in what looks to be a forested region. The videographer insists there was a child ghost staring out the window of the school directly at him, and of course the sight was disturbing. The child in the clip has long dark hair, is ghostly pale, and has sunken black holes for eyes, like the girl from The Ring. She is just standing there in the corner of a window, staring. People in the comments are on the fence about whether this video is real or fake. The girl in the window certainly looks real to me, but it seems too good to be true." This drone video, taken a couple hours away from Area 51 in Utah, depicts a small cylinder that could possibly be a UFO as it brushes by in a burst of speed. The fast disc approaches at a vertical angle before flipping over and passing the drone on a horizontal axis. This video could be CGI because the drone does not shake at all as it rushes by at a very high rate of speed. Or it could be some kind of military application that we were never meant to see. Despite that concern, everything else in this raw footage seems very authentic. Of course, the final possibility that no one wants to accept is that this flying saucer could be from another planet. In this scary video, the cameraman wanders through an old school. Various rooms show desks, bulletin boards with posts on them, and red bars over the windows. However, no people are inside. The camera then turns to a dirt courtyard amongst the school buildings. A single motorbike stands near the entrance, perhaps that of the videographer. Then, on the back wall of the gated courtyard, you see a strange shadow, perhaps the same ghost that haunted the dance school. The shadow creeps across the back gate and into the brush, melting into the shadows of a nearby tree. What could it be? Is it a ghost? Until something seriously sinister happens, we'll never know. All we can hope is that this school is no longer in use. A YouTuber named Xander H takes a group of friends to an asylum that was abandoned long ago. They come across wall after wall of graffiti and begin to wonder if people could still be living in here after all.
What does it say?
They see you.
That's like some anonymous.
Dude, it goes upstairs. Let's go up here. Go.
There's not much to find on the first floor besides lots of written warnings and an overall bad feeling, so they decide to head upstairs. They don't even make it halfway before this happens to them. Something large and heavy stomps down the steps and sends the small group screaming for their lives. They don't get it on tape, but I still think this video is probably real because each member of the group is clearly on camera when they hear the running footsteps. I think there is a good chance this video is real and that they were chased out. maybe even by something supernatural. A YouTuber known as Mr. Carter experiences some strange activity in his bedroom, starting with a lamp that crackles with an abundance of electricity in the air, possibly paranormal energy. And this chair moves by itself as a burst of orbs becomes visible. Is something pulling a string under the bed? Probably not. The antenna falls over and a barely visible orb floats over the radio itself. The chair lurches in the other direction, followed by something breathing. It's very faint, so tell me if you want to hear it. I'm going to have to go with a poltergeist on this one, but tell me what you think. The Camino de la Muerte, or Road of Fate, lies in Bolivia along a 50-mile, rocky, narrow downhill road. The pass is so dangerous that the Inter-American Development Bank deemed it the most dangerous in the world in 1995. Somewhere between 200 to 300 people perish each year on this road. In this video, a bus driver attempts to traverse it to his own detriment. The road, which had recently suffered heavy rain, was prone to landslides, making the crossing even riskier business than usual. After ordering his passengers off the bus for safety's sake, they watch in terror as the driver attempts to creep across a very shaky and crumbling stretch of sand and rock, one that should not be crossed. The passengers attempt to help guide him, with one man in the video moving forward to motion that the driver move further away from the edge. It appears as if the bus will be successful in completing this crossing, but suddenly the ground crumbles beneath it and the bus tips, falling over the cliff, through the trees and down the mountain. While it's fortunate that the 50 passengers survived their devastating journey, sadly, their driver did not. There was a Queensland, Australia YouTube channel made in 2010 called NQ Ghost Hunter, who claimed to want to document how a poltergeist was affecting them in their home. One such video was this one, titled Poltergeist Activity 05 June 2016. A girl sits on the chair and gets pulled smoothly across with no strings. They go into the next room, and it doesn't work as smoothly, so maybe whatever is in their house is at its strongest when it's in the closet, which to me signals something bad could have happened in there. A much older video, titled 8 Jan 11, is even harder to explain. What do you put under a couch to make it do this? And at the very same time, this is going on in their kitchen. I've seen videos where one or two items fall off the shelf, but I've never seen everything come flying out at once, and then somehow this item moves a second time after being thrown to the floor. I feel like all of this could have been done using some elaborate camera tricks I've never seen before, so please let me know. Oh, and his blog and his YouTube channel have both disappeared, so who knows what's become of him since. Perhaps the poltergeist has finally won. A YouTuber named Michael Luzzi returns to Split Rock Road in New Jersey, to a spot where he claims a person once stood behind him and disappeared. Down a creepy old country trail, they see a light that looks like it could be coming from one of their phones or something, except there's a second light way higher up.
Oh, there's a light over there.
Yo, what the heck? What is that?
I don't think they belong to a radio tower or any other type of utility service, because approximately 4 seconds later, the lights seem to move to the right of the tree. The eerie phantom lights return at 7 minutes and 45 seconds. Watch this part and give me your best rational explanation as to what this is, because I haven't even a guess. And less than a minute later, they see something way worse than lights, something that sends them running back to the car.
I don't know, that noise is definitely coming from over here somewhere. I said, what the f?
The faint outline of a person materializes against the dark backdrop of nothingness. They do happen to be hanging out with a third friend, who is wearing dark clothes though, so while it could be him, for some reason I seriously doubt it. A YouTuber named Seg goes into the woods and finds an old rotten house. He and his friends feel something watching them nearby and they both run away. As they are checking out the raw video a few minutes later to see what it was, this strange orange circle pays them a visit and hangs around the corner of the shot.
Mate, did I get it? Alright, would you go watch your footage back?
To be perfectly honest, this looks like it is almost definitely the cameraman's thumb, but Sake says the orange light is way too bright to be anything but the supernatural. He says that this is the only source of light, and therefore something behind the light should not be brighter than everything else in the shot. I'm not sure if I buy this theory, so I wanted to run it by you. Is this a ghostly presence, or a ghost investigator's thumb? A ghost hunter named Zaphod Bebley Brox is at the Hill House Manor in Gainesville, Texas. When they get activity on their equipment, the rules of communication are 1 blink for yes and 2 blinks for no, but this spirit presses no many times over when asked if it is an older man.
Are you the male that just came back in here?
No, it's a little girl.
His partner thinks it must be one of the 2 children spirits known to roam this floor, and when they ask if it wants to play, first he uses the equipment to say no, and then he uses its actual voice. It even answers like a child, waiting until the adult says no before repeating him in a small sad voice.
Are you the little girl? Would you like to play jacks? Can you say yes or no? Huh? No?
Judging by how she is in no mood to play, I'd say something bad must have happened to them, something that's keeping them trapped with no release forever. This rare leaked footage supposedly shows the chaotic aftermath of a UFO that smashed into the sand at Roswell, New Mexico. Medical doctors and military personnel swarm around a gaunt humanoid laid out on a stretcher. Its body is only about half the size of a full-grown man and shares all the characteristics of the quote-unquote little gray man stereotype. I'm not sure how real this video is, because even though everyone is rushing around frantically, no one really seems to be doing much to keep this situation moving forward. They look more like actors than trained professionals in this regard. Also, if this being just dropped out of space, then I'm surprised it doesn't look more banged up than what you see here. Maybe the damage is internal, or maybe it's just a prop. At any rate, this video was supposedly recorded in 1947, so I'm hoping a film expert could further analyze this video and tell me whether or not this was really recorded during that time. 2 Turkish workers are trying their best to make sense of this street cam video, but they still can't believe what was recorded earlier that night. A tiny gray humanoid whose head barely reaches the bumper of a nearby white van crosses the road and proceeds down the sidewalk. About midway through its journey, the strange creature levitates high into the air and takes approximately 56 seconds to come back down. It lands in roughly the same spot as before, so I don't know what purpose this short flight served. Maybe it was trying to leave the area and failed. The 2 men are too stunned to speak for most of the video, but they do say something at the 3-minute and 8-second mark that would be great if someone could translate. If this creature is real, then maybe they are talking more about its origins. Friends explore a park in North Hollywood after hearing reports of a maniac approaching random people. Soon they grow bored and decide to try to test the visual range of their night vision camera for fun. He tells his friend to keep moving back until she is barely visible.
It's on night vision. Keep going.
Soon she is little more than an outline of a black silhouette against the night sky. When she is a good distance away, something that's been watching them the entire time snatches her into the shadows.
Just stop playing around, this is not funny.
If this video is real, then whatever grabs her possesses impossible strength and speed. It picks her up off her feet like she weighs nothing at all, which makes me wonder how big this creature is and how it manages to move so fast without any sound. A YouTuber named Herb Doggy is diving underwater when he sees a small cave that looks interesting. In less than a minute, he is being chased out by something that's not even human. A giant moray eel slithers out of its hiding hole and appears to chase Herb Doggy away, though I'm not entirely sure. I would like to know how territorial these creatures are, and if they really would chase someone away. I'd also really like to know if this was an electric eel or not, in which case I totally understand why Herb Doggy was in so much of a hurry to get out of there. Have you ever met a ghost on a cruise ship? Well, here's your chance. Published on July 25th, 2010 by YouTuber Jim Van Eekhout, this video allegedly captures the wails of the Queen Mary pool ghost. The retired ocean liner was active from the 27th of May 1936 to the 31st of October 1967 on the North Atlantic. According to some, the ship is haunted, and regular ghost tours visit the Queen in the wee hours of the morning to witness the supernatural. Not only that, but the historic treasure now operates as a museum, hotel, restaurant, and all-in-one tourist destination. While it may seem like the ghost stuff was just tacked on for the charm of it, some claim that a murder actually did occur on the ship in one of the staterooms, and the victim's ghost is said to haunt that room till this day. One of these tales seems to be that of a baby named Jackie, who lurks near Queen Mary's pool. According to the uploader, there were no children in the tour group, which set out at 1 a.m., but listen closely. You hear that? It's a baby crying. The black and white video is creepy enough, with the empty deserted pool below and the crowd standing around with blank faces, but then you hear that eerie wailing of an infant, followed by the humming of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It's enough to send chills up your spine. Although the humming is credited to one of the investigators, the baby's cries are credited to the ghost of Jackie, which leaves us wondering, what happened to baby Jackie, and why do her cries remain here? A small flying white cylinder has been spotted multiple times in this Area 51 mountain range. I don't think this is CGI because the video quality does not look blurry at all, and is pretty good for the mid-90s.
This is just about the same area, a similar metallic object.
Keep in mind that this was decades before drones were available, so it can't be that. The UFO is also too big to be a remote-controlled helicopter, which was pretty much the only thing that could hover like this back then. So I definitely agree that this could be a UFO. A YouTube channel called Rick Now TV posted this while traveling across the European countryside. He is recording a dreary meadow from a train when he spots an oversized figure standing at a distance in the fog. The fog creature looks like a silhouette and is gone within the short time it takes him to zoom in and refocus, but in the instant it's there. You can see that it is about the same height as a nearby tree and large well. Rick Now TV suspects that this is a ghost, but perhaps it's further evidence of Slenderman, the elusive tall and dark creature who is said to be able to change its shape, size, and appearance at will. A YouTube channel called Exploration Unknown is walking along the outskirts of Area 51 when they hear an aircraft fast approaching.
I hear something, but I can't see it.
The sound crescendos to new heights as sound barriers break overhead. Yet strangely, they see absolutely nothing as it passes by. Just when the situation returns to normal, the unseen UFO makes a second pass, and this time they think they can make out its faint outline in the distance. Their camera doesn't really pick up any visuals though, or at least none that I can see, but maybe you can see what he's pointing out in the sky.
Oh, that is it.
Like I said, I personally don't see anything, but I can definitely hear it, which makes you wonder if this is some sort of advanced cloaking technology. After all, the sky is clear blue and a plane should be visible in this weather from almost any height. While unknown sewer creatures are certainly scary, here's one real-life known creature you certainly wouldn't want to run into while peering into the sewage drain behind your home. Lou Cam published this skin-crawlingly creepy video in December of 2016. He seems to be lying right on the road in front of his home, where he tells his audience that he thinks he has an alligator in his sewer. It's pretty clear that he's telling the truth. As soon as the camera is angled into the darkness, sure enough, a shot into the depths below spies a pair of alligator eyes, and the undeniable view of the scaly monster just lurking there, a bright green toy ball inches in front of its chompers. This is no laughing matter, although I doubt you were laughing at the sight of that frightening creature in the first place. To put this in perspective, an average adult American alligator is 13 feet long and 790 pounds. While they are generally timid around humans, they will attack and have been known to take people's lives. Just recently, a Florida woman disappeared while out walking her dogs, and her arm was found in the stomach of a massive 12-foot alligator who called a nearby swamp home. Alligators attack large prey by clamping down on it and dragging it into the water to drown it. Doesn't sound like a pleasant way to pass away. I'd advise Lou to get off the road and away from the sewer before it's too late. Hurricane Irma was a Category 5 hurricane that lasted from late August until mid-September in 2017, with hurricane winds of up to 180 miles per hour. Irma devastated several areas, including the eastern United States, Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Bahamas, the Caribbean islands. Caught on tape and published by Tom Steers on September 15, 2017. The clip shows a downpour of rain and heavy winds over a swimming pool, assumedly on the coast of one of the affected areas. A man in black swimming trunks launches out into the wind and rain with a GoPro in his hand to hop into the hotel swimming pool. The water in the pool is heaving, not to the degree of the Nepali earthquake, but enough to where you certainly wouldn't want to test nature at its angriest.
I think one of the Canadians were watching this happen and the Americans were running out.
Look at this idiot. Did he have a in his hand?
Yeah.
No, he had a GoPro with his hand.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I wish I could zoom this in.
I can a little bit.
After a quick dip, however, the man pops back out unharmed. Another thrill seeker who could have wound up injured or worse from his thrill seeking. You're a thrill seeker visiting Zambia, and you aren't too afraid of death-defying heights and rushing water, then visit the Devil's Pool at Victoria Falls. The Devil's Pool is situated on the edge of the 354-foot waterfall on the border of Zimbabwe and Zambia. The width of the 5,604 feet and height combined make Victoria the world's largest sheet of falling water, and at the top of this sheet is something known as the armchair, a natural pool of water along the edge of the Zambian side. This rock barrier forms the Devil's Pool, creating an eddy whose gentle current makes the water safe enough to swim in, but still risky enough where you might tumble over the edge and 354 feet below to your death. Granted, most people stay a safe distance from the cascading falls, but there have been fatalities in the past, which begs the question, why would you want to swim in this pool? This clip shows just how close visitors get to sliding right over Victoria Falls. The uploader, John Watson, lays on his chest peering over the edge with his arms out like he's flying, while the water in the armchair appears to be just trickling over. The water about 6 feet to his right is rushing. John notes that this is one of the scariest but most amazing things he's ever done. What's even scarier is the man standing on the edge of Victoria to take the swimmer's photos. It's only a matter of inches between the adventurer being alive and safe in the water and plummeting to the bottom of Victoria Falls. While the pics and video look incredible and brag-worthy, I'm not sure it's worth the risk. This CCTV footage comes from the London Dungeon, a famous tourist attraction in England that's rumored to be haunted. An employee is tending to their duties in the laundry room all alone. When they go to open the door to the washing machine, a hand reaches out and makes a grab at them. Weirder still is how the camera switches to static merely moments before this happens. Since technological malfunctions can often indicate the presence of the paranormal, and also given the location, I think this strange video could definitely be real, and if so, it's something that this employee will never be able to unsee.
I'm
trying to save a kid out of a trunk right now. He locked himself in.
When a YouTuber named David Nugan hears noise coming from the trunk of a car, he discovers a young boy has accidentally locked themselves inside. It's a hot summer day and the kid needs to be rescued immediately, so David wastes no time breaking out a window and reaching inside. He scrambles to find a button that will pop the trunk. They are sure that the child is severely dehydrated and there is not a second to lose. Finally, the trunk unlocks and a scared child comes stumbling out. You can see his hair and shirt are drenched in sweat, and he is certainly not faking any of this, even though he appears to be alright for now. I still would have taken him for medical attention just to be safe. Let me know what you would have done next based on what you've seen. And thankfully this man was nearby to save the day. This video of urban exploration published by Backyard Exploration in January 2015 is particularly eerie, because what's scarier than dark, damp tunnels and nowhere to turn? In the video description, Backyard Exploration writes, "As the city grew, much of the underworld was sealed and forgotten. We infiltrate the sewers in search for this lost history. Unlike many entries on this list, these guys mean business. They are decked out with gear, headlamps, ropes, and safety equipment for sewer exploration, and they will need it. The underground is a dangerous place, and if you're claustrophobic, the tight spaces might give you screaming anxiety. Even worse, if you're squeamish, you might want to sit this one out, as there's loads of wadding through raw sewage." The exploration shows the bricked underbelly of the sewage system, along with the sewer rats that scurry across the ground and up the walls. Water trickles down from above as the team continues to trapeze through the dark tunnels. The team crawls and climbs through narrow channels to make sure no stone is left unturned, and at one point they even walk waist deep in sewage water, which is sometimes calm, sometimes rushing. In some areas, there are massive amounts of cockroaches skittering across the ceiling of the tunnel. All in all, it's pretty much every phobia imaginable in one. As After Dark said in the comments, this is the stuff that nightmares are made of, this tunnel. But fortunately, this nightmare does come to an end. As the video concludes, they exit the sewage tunnel to breathe fresher air and see daylight again. Adam Grayson is making a YouTube video at the hospital after a reaction causes his entire hand to swell. His wedding ring presses into flesh of his finger hard enough to cut off the circulation. Now a surgeon has to cut through the thin band of metal with only a trained eye and a tiny circular saw. One slip will make the situation 10 times worse.
Ah, that's hot.
The friction from the saw creates such an intense heat that nurses must repeatedly squirt water on the ring to cool it off. They really do have to delicately cleave through every last millimeter of the ring to get it off. Here you can just see how close they have to get to Adam's finger before they are able to pry it off. Adam's finger is red and tender. When they are finally finished with the procedure, there is no doubt that in my mind that he would have eventually lost an index finger had he not gotten to the hospital in time. This video seems like just an image of a gator at the start, with its jaw wide open, staring blankly, completely motionless. But it's not a photo. That becomes clear when the camera zooms in closer to the gator's eye, and it starts backing up angrily, its jaw even wider. Then it goes berserk in the tunnel, clambering towards the camera, until the camera pulls away. The gator then approaches slowly, biting on a cord. After backing away again, the camera approaches the wide-mouthed, sharp-toothed creature once more. The eyes, the scales, the teeth. There's nothing about this that isn't chilling to the core. But what is a camera doing up close and personal down in a sewer anyway? Mike Kruger in the comments section of this video seems pretty knowledgeable on the subject. He wrote that the camera was doing a condition assessment of the storm sewer. He noted that behind the alligator, you can see the swamp. The tired gator simply clambered into the pipe to have a sewer nap, that is, until his nap was so rudely interrupted. Levitating published this video on February 18th, 2016, writing, "In March 2015, I went on a hiking trip in the woods of Monrova, Czech Republic. He said after a few hours of walking, he suddenly heard some strange sounds coming from south of him. While walking through a mossy wooded area, he hears a sound echo throughout the forest. The camera shot moves towards the sound, and the fearless hiker decides to enter deeper into the forest to investigate. He comes across some tracks that look Bigfoot-esque, in the shape of human feet, only bigger. Deciding he'd rather live than come face to face with this creature, he gets the heck out of Dodge. But as he's leaving, the strange call is heard in the forest again. It's almost like the wind is screaming, but the day is absolutely calm. On the way back to his car, he claims that he heard the noise the whole way, while guesses as to what this creature might be range from Bigfoot to werewolves. One thing's for certain, stay out of the forest. This creepy and unexplained video has been unsettling people since 2016. It starts with a man who looks like he is just goofing around at first by making a weird voice and singing loudly. His mannerisms become more bizarre and aggressive, until finally he is shrieking like a wild animal and destroying the whole room. When he regains his composure and lowers the blinds, you can see that he is standing in the middle of a children's room. There's no sounds of a child though, which makes me wonder if there ever was one to begin with, or if it's been somehow silenced. A YouTuber named Exploration Unknown is rummaging around a 200-year-old cemetery when they notice something observing them off in the distance.
What is that?
I see some lights through the trees over there. Something's coming. Dude, we need to get out of here.
At first it looks like some native wildlife, but when the strange light changes from yellow to red, they know these can't be the eyes of an animal.
There's a light coming right there. It's moving through the woods. I don't know, it's right where we need to go.
It may not be the fastest chase ever recorded, but Exploration Unknown is still effectively driven out of the area nonetheless by these strange flickering lights. Let me know what these color-changing lights could have been, because I honestly have no idea. A Texas A&M University student in Corpus Christi, who goes by the name of Fifertisor, has been hearing noises in his dorm room for quite some time. What began as an occasional knocking noise now, months into the semester, has developed into persistent paranormal sounds, stuff like footsteps coming from an empty room. This red line at 15 seconds is where the far wall is, so like I said, no one is in there, except for a poltergeist. No one could have lifted this mattress, because the room is too small for anyone to hide. Next to the mattress is a closet that's empty and that's it, nothing else. Now the bathroom door opens and closes, yet he finds no one inside of the tiny space either, and this area is even smaller than the room before. In all fairness, there are 2 seconds of darkness from 46 seconds to 48 seconds that I guess could mark a spot where he might have stopped recording, let someone out of the bathroom, and then started recording again to make it look empty. I didn't see any such transition in the first room with the mattress, so my gut instinct says this event is real. It turns out public buses are rife with incidents of alleged possessed people. This one turned up in San Luis, Argentina on June 7th, 2016. A woman sits with her eyes closed, her head rolling around at random, and her mouth opening and closing. She is jerking all over, not once opening her eyes, and a terrible sound is heard at times coming from her mouth. What she is saying, if anything, is indiscernible. She continues jerking around, looking quite possessed, until a man walks forward and shakes her shoulder, attempting to bring her back around. The man says something to her, and she shouts back in her scratchy, possessed voice. He places his hand on her forehead, and that's where the footage ends. Was he attempting an exorcism? Was he doing something more sinister? It seems we'll never know. Powerful Pancake is the name of a YouTuber who decides to ring his neighbor's doorbell and then run away. He hides around the side of the house just in time, but his friend behind the trash can is not so lucky. Powerful Pancake doubles back to grab his camera and the chase is on. As you can see here, the neighbor comes charging down the driveway with the bat over his head, ready for who knows what. They barely make it to their car in time and speed off. I think this video is probably real because they seem to actually be full of adrenaline, and that is not easy to fake, but I'd like to get your opinion. Number 10. Two YouTubers see a suspicious red balloon tied around the grate of an old sewer tunnel and start to explore. It isn't long before their flashlight shines upon someone standing rigidly before them.
No freaking.
No! Go, 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 go!
The sewer lurker chases them down the entire length of the tunnel at full speed, and they barely make it out alive. Listen to this part and tell me if you think the fear in their voices sounds real, because it does to me.
Oh, frick, go! Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out! Get out!
I hit my head.
Who or what that was remains a mystery. There's been no update made since this video was uploaded. A sewer in Raleigh, North Carolina may hold an alien life form, or may all be a hoax. The video of a pulsating, slimy, brain-looking organism suction cupped to the walls of a sewer was captured and posted to YouTube. In the video, when the light shines over the creature, it recoils against the wall of the sewer, as if in pure and utter agony. The strange pulsating sack looks like it could come straight out of Stranger Things. It looks as though it might start sprouting tentacles and attack unaware passers-by. But don't worry, as with most things, this seeming alien comes with a perfectly viable explanation. Mel Ferris Construction Company lays claim to filming the creature, as they were contracted to do a routine inspection of the pipes of the private sewer system that discharges into the public water system. A spokesperson for the company told Mail Online, "We were asked by our client to inspect the sewer lines, which were built in 1949. Because the sewers are so old, there were many infrastructure issues." She claims the creature is indeed real, but appears a lot bigger on film and isn't actually what it seems. Environmental coordinator of the Raleigh Public Utilities Department, Ed Bouchon, gave a much more realistic explanation, saying that biologists had found that the alien life form was actually not so alien. It was simply a worm colony that had clumped together along a weak spot in the pipe. Although a rare phenomenon, where there is no soil, worms tend to coil around each other instead. They seem to respond to the light from the camera, Bouchon said, adding that it's pretty hot. Still, skeptics cling to the alien life form theory. Do you think this creature is just a pile of worms, or is the Raleigh Public Utilities Department hiding something? A YouTuber named RevoX encounters a wild pheasant in the graveyard that is not at all afraid. The colorful bird looks over its shoulder to make sure he is watching, and then takes the lead, guiding him someplace quite important that I'll reveal in just a moment. It hops off the road, and at 1 minute and 8 seconds, walks this little beaten trail of matted grass.
Have you ever seen anything like it before?
That's been trampled over many times before. The determined little bird stops and circles back to the human, again showing absolutely no signs of fear. It even looks straight at him, at the end like it knows what is being said.
There's my mum's grave, and it will remain, as it has done for the past few days, going round and round it.
So is this a real spirit guide or just a pet? Some Native Americans believed pheasants to be a sign of protection and concealment because they like to bury themselves in tall grass, a creepy behavior when taken within the context of a graveyard. They can be tamed, but even if this is a pet, I don't think you can teach it to lead you somewhere for over a minute, and I never see it get a food treat as a reward or anything, so I think it's real. A YouTuber named CTV911 is on his way to see the new Star Wars movie when the crowded mall elevator abruptly stops, leaving him stuck with other worried passengers. I can't exactly tell for sure, but I think one of them might be trying to force the doors open here, maybe to get more air into the elevator. Watch this part and let me know what you think they are trying to tell him not to do.
Stop, buddy. Stop. Hey, anybody up there?
It's getting unbearably hot in here.
Have we tried the phone again to let them know someone's going down?
I could only imagine what would have happened if he had managed to actually get the doors open. After about 9 minutes, one of the passengers breaks down and has a full-blown panic attack.
You don't have a medicine at all? Coming over.
It isn't until 40 minutes later that help finally arrives. Firefighters can't get the doors open, so they have to bust in through the top of the elevator. Their welcome entrance nonetheless sends shrapnel down on the waiting crowd.
Watch your eyes, guys. There's screws everywhere, too.
I'm still
going up?
Earlier. Hey, can I have it?
Yeah, you can have it. We don't want it.
Hey, we're trying to help.
They somehow squeeze a ladder into the elevator and send everyone up one by one. The YouTuber misses his movie but is glad he no longer has to spend another moment stuck in that cramped space. A YouTuber named Blamzuka is nervously waiting for an intense water park ride to begin. He knows something is wrong as soon as his friend deploys and he is still stuck in the tube. Soon it becomes apparent that getting out is not going to be easy, especially considering the door is sealed shut by a control panel that seems not to be working properly.
You okay in there?
If the ride starts with Blamzuka in this position, he could easily land wrong and cause some damage. He is forced to remain in the tube with his hands over his shoulders, almost like a casket, with cold water running down his back the whole time. They eventually open the door and get him into the second tube. When this tube fails in the exact same way, they finally send him down the ride on a third tube. Judging from his scared reaction, I'm surprised he did not quit when the same thing happened a second time. The surveillance footage caught on video at Pocatello High School is some of the most haunting ghost footage to date. On December 19th, several students, one with a camera, captured footage of a shadowy adult figure near the drinking fountain. The figure heads to the bathroom, comes out, and continues along the hallway. When the footage was released, John and Lisa Bryan, the co-founders of the scientific paranormal investigative research organization, arrived at Pocatello High to investigate after someone had reportedly messed with the building's lighting. They saw a translucent figure wandering in the hall, and the pair said that surveillance footage can't be edited due to the camera design and legal regulations. Lisa said they'd watched the footage many times, both regular speed and slowed down. You can just see the lights going on and off, she said. The police were called because of these issues going on in the building. All of that just goes to show that it wasn't something someone just put on there, but instead it was something that really happened. Of course, rumors and myths are pervasive at this haunted school. Everything from drownings in the school swimming pool to mysterious passings of librarians and schoolgirls. While some of these myths may not be true, John and the crew traced at least 6 passings back in Pokey's history, one of them, in fact, being that a boy did drown in the school's pool, which is why it was removed. The stories keep on piling up, and this video seems to validate that. Aokigahara, also known as the Sea of Trees, is an infamous Japanese forest. Well, there are certain areas that are so dense that a feeling of solitude exists there like nowhere else. Sound is also absorbed, allowing for a kind of quiet you've never heard. Yuri, ghosts of the past away from Japanese myths and legends, reside in this forest. Needless to say, the place is grim, and it becomes even more grim when you bring a Ouija board and attempt to talk to the spirits. Brennan Taylor published this video in July of 2017, writing, "We explored the forest to the depths of where normal hikers are not allowed to go. The things we saw changed us and we will never be the same. We decided it would be a good idea to play the Kukuri-san, which is basically the Japanese equivalent to the Ouija board. First, the man filming asks the board if they're going to run into a body that night, and the board answers 4. Being that there were 4 members in the group, this response must have sent a chill up each of their spines. When asking the spirit if they should be in the forest, the spirit answers no. At one point, one of the crew notes that moths are a sign of the afterlife, and they are all over the place, even landing on the board. They also notice scratch marks on a nearby tree, which seem to indicate that somebody clawed at it, in the shape of an X. They next ask the spirit if they'll find someone that very night. The answer, yes. When they finally decide to leave the forest, they've lost the coin that is used as a planchette. According to the Kukuri-san, one of them must spend the coin within 24 hours of playing, or otherwise there's bad consequences. They backtrack to look for the coin, but the coin is never found. What will happen? Will they have 70 years of bad luck? It's hard to know for sure. All we do know is that they survived to tell the tale and post it on YouTube. Mocha Vids and his friends are making a random YouTube video late at night when a lone stranger starts walking close behind.
Dude, there's like a creeper following us.
After a while, they turn around only to find the man briskly gaining on them. Mocha Vids quickly considers his options and ultimately decides not to confront the person.
You guys want to run? Should we run? Oh, just missed the house down.
The audio gets real choppy during this next part, but I think they are basically saying that the man is darting between houses and acting really weird.
Oh, just missed the house down. Dude, he went on the side. Inside of my house.
Seconds later, he apparently charges at them.
Oh shit.
It's hard to say if the danger presented in this video is real or dramatized. You never actually see the person run at them, but at the same time that also kind of makes the video more realistic because they are too busy getting away to catch anything. Either way, they manage to run back home and the incident is soon forgotten. Let me know if you think they really were being chased or not based on what you've seen here. A YouTuber named Sturin's Wild World is grabbing some firewood from a pile when she notices something small and dangerous moving from within. You probably don't see anything and neither did I at first. Without some hesitation, she carefully uses a grabbing stick to extract the beast from its hiding spot.
More venom. More venom!
It's not just any cobra, it's a cobra that actually spits venom. The sight fills her with fear and fascination. Watch as she keeps its mouth pointed away from her as she examines its body. She is giving some basic information about the species when it somehow slips past her guard. It doesn't look like she loosens her grip at all, but rather the snake flattens its jaws and slides through.
Okay, the reason why I'm in love. Whoa!
She manages to snag it by the tail again and moves backwards as the snake comes at her, spitting venom all the while. The video ends before she gets a chance to release it, but based on how it's aggressively moving towards her, I have no idea how she plans to get away. This vintage Area 51 footage looks like it was taken sometime during the 50s if I had to guess. Service technicians in puffy white suits tend to an oblong disc-like UFO on long spindly legs. I'm not sure if this video looks wavy because of grainy footage or due to electromagnetic disturbance from whatever power source this object has. Seeing it in action looks pretty realistic and convincing. It seems to hover in place using some kind of anti-gravitational technology that I doubt we pioneered ourselves without the direct assistance, or at least the supervision of an advanced species. Two people are heading down the road when a third person looks right at them and steps in their path. Watch this part and you can see that he clearly waits for them to get close and does this on purpose.
Are you kidding me?
But here's where things get really strange. According to the uploader, when he turned around, the man was completely gone. He called the police and they had no luck finding him either. Could this have been a spirit doomed to repeat its last moments on Earth? Published in April 2017 by Steve Cody. This video allegedly shows a ghost haunting a swimming pool. In the description, Steve writes, "I noticed my camera picked up motion around my pool about a week ago. After midnight, I watched the whole video with my wife, and there's a ghost or something floating over the pool. He said it lingered there for several minutes. The video does in fact show a light floating over his dark swimming pool at night. It just hovers in the top right corner of the screen, bouncing back and forth a bit. So what is it? A luminous ghost? A ghost holding something luminous, whatever it is. Don't go in the water." One day a student named Ella got her entire hand stuck in a paper towel dispenser. I'm not sure how she did this and neither do her classmates. All I know is she seems majorly stuck and nobody can free her hand for the entire video. Pulling her arm doesn't help and seems to only make things worse.
Just pull that.
My question, besides how did this happen, is what can be done to get her out? I'm thinking an ambulance probably had to be called to dismantle the dispenser, or at least take it off the wall, but we'll never know for sure because the video is only 1 minute and 16 seconds long. This rare footage of a sewer monster is brief, but frightening. The video seems to capture a glimpse of something large with a tail launching around the underground. The black and white adds to the creepiness of the footage, when suddenly something the size of a kangaroo moves swiftly past and out of sight. Although not quite as unsettling in movement as a creepy critter might be, whatever this strange being is, it looks completely out of place in the sewage system. Any idea what this strange creature could be? This video is rumored to have been leaked by a lab employee working inside of Area 51. They are recording some kind of incident that occurred inside of a frozen refrigeration chamber. And I guess the power must have gone out or something because a small flashlight is the only thing saving them from complete and total darkness. While searching for an exit, they encounter a large mossy white growth that takes up the entire corner of the room and looks absolutely riddled with disgustingly high levels of bacteria. This only spurs them to move faster as they hurry from room to room. Finally, they open one last door leading to a dead-end test chamber inhabited by a single living orange organism. The creature, which apparently was being kept in cold darkness until the beam of a flashlight filled its lair, seems more curious than aggressive, almost like it was expecting to be fed. The Area 51 worker drops his camera in surprise and runs, so either he was wandering around some part of the lab that he did not have clearance for, or maybe he was unknowingly chosen as an unwilling human experiment. If this is real, then I definitely feel sorry for any of the people planning on storming Area 51. Seeing something other than wild animals and nature in the forest is always creepy, so what if you saw this? James Jones published a creepy figure that he'd caught on video in the forest in June of 2012. He explained that he was currently making a homemade indie horror flick for which he wrote his own script. After setting up a prop ritual circle in the middle of the forest, based off of research for his film, he ran some rehearsals and then headed home. He returned the next afternoon to film more. That's when he spotted this figure. In his own words, "I don't have any explanation on what it is. The reason why this is so weird is because this figure is exactly where I had created the ritual circle last night." When he returned with his camera that evening, the figure had disappeared. From afar, it appears like a hooded demon wearing a black robe. It's unmoving. While many in the comments believe it's just a tree or a stump, others wonder if the uploader was reaping the consequences of setting up a ritual circle in the forest. What do you think it is? A gut feeling, a sensation is almost worse than the reality itself. Say you're alone in the forest, the hair stands up on the back of your neck, you get the sensation that something is watching you. What do? Druid Raven Scout published this video in August of 2015, explaining this very scenario. Well, he packed up his bags to leave the forest. He said he felt something that he couldn't explain, a gut feeling that something or someone was following him. He said he felt threatening sensations as he walked the path over a couple of hours. He had planned on staying in the forest another night, but his intuition was telling him not to. During the 18-minute video, he explains that he feels like he's being observed. He also says he heard something strange up in the trees as he walked the path earlier. He does manage to escape the forest without meeting his stalker, but not without shaking the feeling that something certainly was watching. MKP Studios published this video in November 2017. According to the uploader, this mysterious clip had been sent to him under a weird email address with no message to accompany it. Usually you're supposed to immediately delete such messages, but for some reason, the uploader clicked on the video and came across this eerie black and white footage of a drainage pipe at night. The uploader claims that he assumed the individual was sending him content to post on his channel, but when he messaged the person, he received no response. On the fourth message, the email account had been deleted. So what does this creepy footage entail? The video starts with the camera scanning an outdoor area along a road with a sewer drainage system. As the camera approaches the sewer, you can hear children's voices coming from within. The cameraman gets down on the ground and shoots right into the sewer, and at least 3 distinct voices are heard. Two of the voices are a higher, childlike pitch. A third is growling, rasping, and doesn't sound like that of a child, or even of an adult, more like that of a monster. The children are crying out as the voice hisses at them. They shout for help when the monster voice growls and hisses again. And then again, as the sound goes in and out, the cameraman for some reason abandons the children to this monster and leaves the sewer altogether. What is this? Were children just playing a game in the sewer? Or is something more sinister going on here? There is another option. This could simply be promotional material for the movie It, which came out around the same time as this video began circulating on the internet. Only these children know the truth, and unfortunately they're unavailable to tell us. A YouTuber named Tanner Shelton is trying to clear his mind by making a TikTok video at the mall when he accidentally records a phantom figure that disappears after a brief but horrifying moment.
Hey guys, so I decided to just get out of the house today. I think it's probably good for me to keep my mind off of things and just...
She has long black hair over her eyes and a white outfit, and the way she is rooted in place hardly looks like an ordinary shopper going about their day. He admittedly does give her ample time to go back around the corner, so this could have been planned. Like most cats, this one can snooze all day.
She's right here, sleeping, right? She's not even moving.
But unlike most cats, this one will wake from a deep sleep whenever the door to the basement is touched, even putting its paw out as if to greet whatever's on the other side. This time it's more curious than normal, more driven. The cat seems to pay extra attention to the doorknob in particular. It really wants in. Then the door opens.
What I don't understand is I can do this to any door. She won't care. Holy...
Despite being closed and latched, the door pops open, even assuming the cat did slide its paw under the door and somehow opened it. What is down there that has its interest, and why only this door? Well, pool drains were one of my rational fears when swimming as a child. Crocodiles and sharks were a couple irrational ones. There aren't any of either species where I live, so how they might get in a swimming pool we can only imagine. Probably through those dreaded pool drains, but as it turns out, this fear is real and rational in some places. This video shows an alleged crocodile swimming in an indoor pool. I say alleged because there are also people in the pool, and like some YouTubers commented in the original video, that thing must be fake. However, fake or real, the croc swims at the same slow, unnerving pace as though we've so often seen on Animal Planet. It makes its way around the edge of the pool and then swims towards one of the individuals in the water, who for some reason isn't screaming like a banshee or thrashing around. But I still can't help feel but sick to my stomach while I watch this great water monster and wonder if he'll be alongside me in the next pool I dive into. If that was your intention, future if, when you published this clip in 2014, you certainly succeeded. When Brian Schultz entered the forest in September of 2015, he probably wasn't expecting to be spooked by something that was perhaps paranormal. In his video description, he writes, "Camping trip on September 6, 2015. I was alone and seen strange lights moving from tree to tree of different sizes and colors. I was doing a live periscope at the time, so the video isn't the best quality." In the video, he was reading his live viewers' comments and responding. After the event occurred, he called into Art Bell's show, Midnight in the Desert, and talked on air about what had occurred. You can see a flash of light between the trees, with Brian's flashlight directed towards it. The flash looks like a spark of light. When he turns his flashlight off, the light is broad and bright. Whatever the light is, keeps flashing in the trees, low, high, everywhere. At times it appears like a flashlight, other times Brian suspects it's a UFO. Others in the comments said they've had similar experiences before with no explanation. Many commenters say at 2 minutes 36 seconds in the video, there is something or someone seen moving behind him.
But this light keeps flashing up in the trees, different areas. It's really weird, and I don't know how to describe it because it keeps flashing in different areas of the trees.
If we slow down the footage, you can definitely see something move. Do you have an explanation? Remember that footage of the raging Eagle Creek forest fire? Just imagine being in the middle of it, driving right through the very center. While driving, I can only imagine they're wondering whether or not they'll live through this horror, or maybe they've already gone to the other side. In the video, you can barely see the road as smoke rises all over and hellish fire springs up along the roadside. Sparks of embers fly across the windshield, making the viewer feel like they're in the center of a fire pit. You can also see specks of black ash flick across the window. Finally, they make it onto the main road and make a break for it. Although it's still very smoky, slowly but surely the smoke vanishes as they escape the fire zone. That was one scary and wild ride. This is supposedly the last footage of two guys who were driving through a forest in 2006, uploaded by Lars Helg Nedrabo. He writes, "This is some of the footage found on their camcorder. From what they are saying on the video, they were trying to take a shortcut through the forest. The footage is dark and not so clear, but it shows two friends driving along a road, laughing, singing, and generally having a good time. At one point, they are in a forested area when they come across a roadblock. One of the friends gets out to move it. The road beyond is a bit spookier. It's bordered by trees and darkness. They come across another roadblock, and the driver stops so his friend can pop out again to move it, but he can't for some reason. It's locked perhaps. He gets back in the car, and we can assume they turned around to get back onto the main road. Then, for some reason, they get out of the safety of their car and head into the forest. Bad idea. While they're walking, they hear something not of this world. The sound is disturbing and seems to scare the men who are searching for its source with a dim flashlight, but they start laughing, as it sounds strange, like an animal choking or something. Soon, however, they're not laughing. Whatever creature was making that noise suddenly attacks one of them. while the other races towards the car. You can hear him sobbing as he attempts to get back inside to safety, but he doesn't make it. The creature attacks him as well, and the camera catches him as he falls to the ground and is dragged off. We can assume neither of the pair made it out alive, as the title Last Footage would suggest. What was this creature? Do you think this footage is fake or real? It's been debated on the internet for quite a while now, whether real or not. It's quite scary. Thank you so much for getting me to 20,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 30,000 subscribers next. Thank you.